and then they moved us up to Song Cloud, which was the major encampment for most Vietnamese boat people. Then from Song Cloud, you went to Bangkok, and Bangkok, you did your paperwork with the UN, the state got someone to sponsor us, and so we came to stateside. We eventually landed in Richmond, Virginia. So let me show you the boat. This is a replica of the actual boat that we went, that was escaped. This is a pretty much traditional fishing boat in Vietnam, and the person that crafted this was a boat person, refugee too. The inscription, Vietnamese boat people run away from communism, all handmade. But this fisherman is how he made this, and he sold it. That's how he made money to bring his family over to the States. So first day stateside, Richmond Airport. It is freaking cold, right? It's like, holy cow, what is this stuff? And I look outside the window after I came off the airplane, everything's white. Trees have no leaves. There's no green. What's wrong with this land? So the church that sponsors it was a local Vietnamese church in Richmond, Virginia. They got settled into a little apartment somewhere. And then the priest, Father Dum, he's the one that kind of came out to our parents, my family, and took first experience. Took us, I think it was Kmart or some supermarket for shopping. 2 days after Christmas. I remember, he's like, you can take any candy you want. I grabbed this giant candy cane, it's a foot long. It's like, holy cow, but look at that candy bar. It's like, I didn't know the price, but I was like, wow, as a kid, came out, I was like, that's the biggest candy bar I've seen in my whole life. So it's like, it was a culture shock. I can't speak the language. But you see merchandise, you can gravitate to it, say, hey, I want this, I want that. But my family stayed in Richmond, Virginia for maybe about a month, 2 months. Then eventually we went up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where my uncle was. And we settled into Pittsburgh. Cultural shock. First day of school, right? Mom made lunch. She put rice into this little tin jar. And the tin jar used to be a condensed milk. So we washed it, and that's my lunch bar. We didn't know anything, right? And all I had for lunch was rice, salt, and pepper. That's it. And she packed it and gave it to us. So my sister and I went to school, and during lunch, we don't know where to go. So both of us just went to find the quietest corner and sat together. It's like, oh, no spoon. So just ate with our hands. And it took us maybe about close to 5 months of school to realize, oh, there's actually something called a cafeteria, and we can borrow a spoon. But for us, eat from the food, from the language, how people acted to us was very different because we can't communicate. They don't understand us, we don't understand them, right? There was someone always assigned to help us to learn the language, but still, as kids, it's hard. It's very hard. And I tell you, I think I was like first grade or something. It was not until the third grade I realized I don't know what I'm studying. And during test time, the only thing I can remember is I can draw the map of Pennsylvania, the state, and I know where the Harrisburg is because that's from picture. I can draw that. I can do math, right? But when it came to science, English, history, no idea. And of course, the school gave us foreign language, French. I could barely speak English or Vietnamese as it is. Now they're teaching me French. So totally lost. Right? Lost as a student from first grade all the way up to maybe fourth grade. So that was a shock in itself. At the point in time when any Vietnamese boat people came stateside, you were hosted by a local church, by Catholic charities, right? Lutheran services. These are all these service agencies that would help new immigrants, but they are more of people that help you in the initial stage, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months max, and after that you're on your own. And if you're lucky, you stay in a community which has a lot of other people that you can relate to. Just happened when my parents settled in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There was a total of maybe 400 other Vietnamese there. There was a church, no temple, but we only saw other Vietnamese maybe once or twice a year. Either that, Christmas, and then there's a commemoration of the fall of South Vietnam. That's the only time we saw them. Super happy when we see them. But when people help you, pretty much not a lot, because you're on your own. Right? The hard part is you can't communicate to your local neighbor to ask for help because you can't communicate. I'll give you an example. My dad wanted to mail a letter. He wrote it, got a stamp stamp on it, everything done. He went to the mailbox. He found out where the mailbox was, but he stood there for an hour. He didn't know how to put the letter in the box. There was nothing that is indicative that tells you, pull this little lever and pop the envelope in. It didn't exist, right? And that's from my dad. Can you imagine? And as a kid, it's a little bit easier to assimilate. They have friends, they're okay, but as an adult, expectation different. Well, that's just one story I always remember my dad telling me. He's like, holy cow, I didn't realize it was that hard. We assume it's easy, but it's really not. Okay. So growing up, my dad was very stringent on this rule. You go to school, you speak English all you want. You come back home, you go through that door, 100% Vietnamese in the house. And that's how we preserve our language, right? During a period where there's not a lot of Vietnamese around. There's no freaking Vietnamese grocery shop. There's nothing, right? So from the enforcement, from our parents' enforcement, and at dinner time, every dinner time, my dad would tell you a story in Vietnamese. Folktale, legends, tradition. That was super important because I always follow my dad around to set up the family Dut altar, preparation of the area. And he would tell me a story. Why do you have this yellow flower, right? Why do we have this square pastry or the round bánh tét, all this stuff? And this, as I learned through the years, was ingrained into me. And as I got older, settled down with family, I believe I did the same thing that my dad did for me. That I teach my children the same thing. It's like all oral history, but you're reliving it. Now, as for myself, I teach my kids this, but then I do additional investigation, thanks to Mr. Google, for more information, right? So kind of really share with them, say, why is this significant? Why do you need an identity to understand that you are Vietnamese, you're American Vietnamese, and be proud of it. And this is part of our culture, our community, collectively. And it's that these stuff from the family. Now, transition to the community, right? I've done community work for mostly all my life as an adult. And what I do for the community is really, I want to give back to my community, help the young generation that went through the same struggle that I did when I was growing up, and figuring out, hey, how can I help you? What information can I share with you that will help you move along, right? I remember registering to go to college. No one told me what the heck the SAT was. My parents didn't know about that. Sending an application to the school. Parents know nothing about that, right? Applying to school, they didn't know it. My parents didn't know anything. No, I applied to my own high school. I applied to my own college. Did all the paperwork. All Dad needed to do was sign. And he didn't know what he was signing. He just signed. Right? And I think when I was doing community work to help me get back and kind of reach back to my community, I was providing information that's necessary for the parental side and for the kids side. So they both have that information in hand, because nothing beats having the information. 20 years ago, it's called the Vietnamese-American exhibit at the Smithsonian. And let me show you a booklet about it. Right? You can have this later. But this one is not about the fall of South Vietnam, but about the resiliency of the community, which is very interesting. So after 1975, there was the first wave that left with the Americans when they left Vietnam. They were either put at Camp Pendleton, Fort Chappie, Indian Gap. No, there's a bunch of military bases where all the Vietnamese refugees came in. And I remember reviewing all these artifacts. What struck me was they set up their own barber shop in the military camp. They set up their own gold shop for gold exchange if they needed cash currency. They had their own quasi-made up restaurant, makeshift restaurant, called Ghost Kitchen, right? But all this is part of the Vietnamese culture. If you in Vietnam, in any village, big city, you have all these components, and the community is like, we're just gonna create it. In the middle of military camp, they do it. And I think as a people, right, the Vietnamese people, doesn't matter what you toss at them, they'll turn around, they'll reset up their community, they'll reset up functions, assets, or services that are indicative of back home to help them move along, to help them cope. Really, it's mostly is to really to help them cope. And I think from that firsthand experience, having friends telling me their life when they first landed in Guam, and from Guam going to Camp Pendleton, Shafi, all those, and how it was. It's like, wow, this is pretty darn amazing, right? Because I didn't go through the camp. My family came stateside not in 78. All the friends who were in the military bases came in 75. I think I grew up, my family grew up in Pittsburgh. We're the only one there, right? I didn't have aunts, uncle, grandma, grandpa, anybody of that nature. So because of that, the family actually became much closer in everything. Uh, every dinner together, we do activities together, everything, right? My sibling and I, we grew up sleeping in the same room, even through high school, right? There's no such thing as a private room. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. But that brought the family, the siblings, very close. Right? We know each other left and right, and more understanding. Right? My parents had a little tougher time because they need their own adult time, meaning their own friends. And eventually they did. They created their own circle of friends, other families nearby that they got to know, talk with, and they would have like weekly get together, chit chat, to reminisce where you were, what did you do, how can I help you, or hey, I got this lead on a new job, who needs it? Let me share with you and bring you there. So I think from those type of exposure, I realized in times of need, right, the people around you become very close to you because you are dependent upon one another. So each one carry a little element of information that you can share, that you can help others with. And I noticed that clearly in the immigrant society, be it in the Vietnamese community, Cambodian, Laotian, anyone within that era of around 1975, they were very similar mindset, right? Willing to help, willing to reach out, and willing to share. So if you ask any Asian family about mental health, it's a taboo, right? And all of you probably experience this. You know someone might not be right. The term in Vietnam is like, oh, he's cold, or he's crazy, right? Or he's dead, he's mad. But they're not. They might have a mental health breakdown. They just need a little counseling. They need someone to help them. So for myself, was there mental health stress for myself? Probably don't know. As a child, I didn't even realize certain things happen. But I know my parents did, right? My dad specifically, he had a lot of like PTSD. This is refugee PTSD, right? I wake up midnight, I hear him screaming, yelling because he sees evidence of the war, or refugees running, or whatever it is that's in his dream. And you see this not to my parents. I saw this through my friends' parents, but the kids, they also have their trauma experience. They're stressed in adapting to a new culture, new language, new friends, new food, new clothes, new everything, right? And if you went to school and you didn't have the mindset, I was like, I am who I am, and you're like, oh gee, I need to get a new pair of shoes, the latest jean, or whatever the fashion is, then you would stress yourself and your parents out a whole lot. For me, I didn't really care. I was happy that I would go lucky. I'm perfectly fine. Whatever I wear, I'm perfectly fine. It doesn't matter to me. So I had a little less stress. Oh man. So then we'll do it in phases, right? Settling stateside, and in the first 2 decades, it was animosity toward the governance of the country of Vietnam, right? Meaning, oh, they're the reason why my family's here. They're the reason why we lost everything. I lost my uncle, my aunt, or whoever. So you lay blame, right? But these are casualties of war. And as you get older, you realize you can't hate your country. You can't hate the people in your country because they're not the one directly. It's just circumstances. And as I grew older, my philosophy and perspective changed dramatically from a pure anti-Vietnam, anti-communist, anti-Vietnam meaning not the people, not the country, but the ruling entity, right? To, you know what, if I can, I'd like to go back to Vietnam and help. And I did. A group of friends and I, we helped started a nonprofit called Hope for Tomorrow, which does medical and dental missions to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. We will go annually or more than that. We started an organization back in 2005, almost 20 years, right? We do very well building children with HIV, senior centers for seniors who do not have children or anyone taking care of them. A hospital I'm very proud of. It went from a 50-bed hospital to a 250-bed hospital serving the poor deep in the country of Red City and Mekong Deltas. Show this brochure, right? So this is one of my first brochure of when I did my first promotional event for the organization, Hope for Tomorrow. And here in this brochure, we lay down the works and our missions and vision of why we're doing this. In those years when we first started, I had a little pushback from the community, like, you should do it, you should help them. It's like, but those orphanage, right, those children, they're innocent. It's not, they should be blamed. If we can help, we should help. And do those type of work that really catapulted my perspective on doing other community work, right? From helping those that really need to helping for college student, which is part of my passion, providing education scholarship, helping the children, because I realized if I help one student, that student get his bachelor, he has a career, he built his career, he helped his family, and then in return, he helped other people in his community, and then you're like, this is how change happened. This is how change really happened, right? Because if you take the position of, I hate it, you can't do anything. But if you take the position of, I want to help in your small ways, whatever it is. So I had this key student that I've known from the day that I helped provide his scholarship to this very day. I'm still in contact with him. His name is Quynh H. So we came from a family. His dad was, I think he laid bricks, and his mom worked in the rice field, picking rice and stuff. And we didn't know much. Academically, he was slow, but he fought all the battles, and he got into college. And his only struggle was, I didn't have money to go to college. It cost $400 for one academic year. Relatively speaking, $400 today, maybe round trip ticket to Texas or somewhere. It's not a lot. So I said, yeah, I do it. I commit. So Huy and I became friends. No chit chat. Provide the scholarship he needed. Finished his bachelor. Then he got a scholarship to French Polytech for his master's. So he did his master's in artificial intelligence. After his master's, he did his doctorate in artificial intelligence. Today, he's working for Meta, doing AI work in visualization. So you think from a young man growing up in the village whose parents are rice farmers, and now he's doing high-tech AI. That's pretty extreme range, right? But when he got his bachelor and his master, he helped both his younger sister got their degree. And then you see that suddenly his family dynamic changed. Their economic output, their future perspective totally changed. We right now, I believe he's in France working for Meta. He's supposed to move over to New York City. He got married. He doesn't have children yet, but we're still in contact. We still chit chat with one another. And I think that gives you a lot of like wow moment. The argument, right? There is the argument perspective. There's the quiet perspective, and there's is a phase where you're like, what can I do to move on? I went through all that from being a Boat People refugee. And I can tell you, the best part is the rebuilding and peaceful moving forward process. Because you're like, I can fight you all day long. I can go up there and protest anti-communist left and right. But then what does that buy me? Because it creates a lot of, I call it negative energy. There are time for it. You need it. But then after that time passed, the next step is the most important. What is your position? Is your position do nothing? Or is your position do something to elicit change? I took the perspective, I want to do something. The something could be very small, right? But the something creates goodwill. It creates positive energy for you yourself and people around you. Because once you do something that is of a positive flow, you attract more positivity. You attract support from the community where they're like, okay, we like what you do. We see the results. These are result oriented, right? It's not like, hey, you're gonna wait another 10 years to see results, no, but you see results. There's one project where friends and I, raise some money, and we're gonna build a school. It's not like what you think. School existed already, but it's just a shack, 4 walls, roof. It's just not conducive for students. So we raised $35,000, and we asked the local community, "Can you work with us?" This is a local community, a village in Vietnam. "Can you work with us so we put up a new school for the children?" All the parents said yes, but we just don't have resources. So we negotiated with them. Said, "This is what we do. Our team here will find the financial. We'll get the builders. We'll get the material and build it. But what I asked of all the parents, the school administrator, help upkeep the school. Let's keep it clean for the student. Once every year, maybe give it a fresh coat of paint, right? And really keep it, because it is an asset that we need to help the children learn better in a better environment. They love it, right? So from that one school, we built a school. It's just a 2-room school, housed maybe, I think, like 30, 35 students. After the school was done, we're like, kids need a restroom facility. So got a couple thousand, built a restroom facility. Staff need a restroom facility. We built one for the staff. And then we're like, kids need a playground. Oh, let's go build a playground. So you start from a little idea, right? And we build on it year after year. We never left the community. We're all there. We're always checking up on them. How are you doing? How are my students doing? That student that left the school, how are you moving forward? Can I help you move forward? Well, what other resource do you need? Maybe I don't have it, but my friends would. Someone might that we know. And I think in doing all that work for my community base, and that's in Vietnam, right? That's helping back in Vietnam. Stateside, domestically, the organization to help, we started hosting like free dental clinic. Do you think our community needs free dental care? Theory, everybody has health insurance one way or another, but that's not true. Our first day that we offered the free clinic, we had like 100 patients. In year 5 of offering free dental clinic, 2,000 patients in 8 hours, right? We got a whole, I think it was Loudoun County government, rented a whole gymnasium for us to use, right? They help us out with a lot of logistics work, and we were so surprised. Like, we did not know there was this much need for care, right? And the more you help, it's straight back door, right? There's a Loudoun, we did Loudoun, we did it in Frederick, Montgomery County, Fairfax County, all around us. It's not that far from us. And you realize there's need here too. So we both do domestically where we exist, where we live day by day. Then we also look back at our motherland, that we need to still connect culturally, ancestrally, right? That's where my other side is. So you take care of all environment that's important to you. So I don't think there's ever an instance where I think, oh, I do only Vietnam work, right? No, you need. So Asian American, I would take it from the perspective of political activism first, okay? We have always been called the model society, but very, very quiet. That's a problem, major problem for our society. Is that we gotta be freaking loud. You gotta be out there almost like obnoxious if you want to get something done for our community. Because right now, every presidential election, the candidate will come out and woo the community, right? Get your money, get your vote. But no one in our community asks, what are you gonna do for me? Are you gonna pass another law to help my community? How about passing some law, some initiative that says, I will help more Asian American small business gain financial resources, gain access to the market. I guess all of you remember the Black Lives Matter movement, right? They got millions out of yin yang. Whatever happened to it? They yelled, right? They screamed loud, and companies were willing, hey, we'll give you X dollar, Y dollar, but those dollars, I don't know if got back to the community or not. So now go back to the Asian American community, it's the same issue, is that we have to ask for what we need. Don't be shy about it. I belong to a group of small Vietnamese American businessmen. We're like, hey, I need financial access, but it's freaking hard to find because people are like, who is going to sponsor you for financial, right? Why should we trust you guys? And then access to the market. We'll talk about like federal contracting. In the IT world do contracting. As Asian American, it's not that easy to go into the market. If you don't know the people inside, I'm sorry. The government would say, we publish everything, yeah, whatever, but there's always a winner already. Okay? It doesn't work that way. So what I'm asking is like, can you give us greater access or create a better initiative where Asian American businesses have an opportunity to engage and compete in it, right? Just don't tell me, oh, there's a small business association, but the small business association is not geared for Asians. It's geared for another group, undefined, right? And so I think that's where the unfairness happens, and that's for an Asian, for our community. We do need to kind of stand up and ask for more versus less. I don't fit that model. In undergrad, I'm a C student. I was not that good, and math was not my strong point either. Right, so I'm like the reverse of everything. But every time people tell me, mention this stuff, like that's not me. This is who I am. I'm good at writing. I work a lot to get my ideas across, and I believe in being loud if it helps and serve my community or helps me do my whatever work I do. Because I remember I'll be at conferences, right, attending particular seminars, technical seminars, and you have to raise your hand to ask questions if you want things answered. And I noticed sometimes in the room there's like 5 or 6 other Asian attendees, but then no one ever asks any questions. They're shy. They're like, can't. I think it's hard for us as a community to bypass that concept of shyness, cultural, right, personal, and always fear of being rejected. It's like, hey, this whole world is based on rejection. You get rejected first day of your life. So we just kind of have to abysmal position. To this very day, if you talk to any Asian family about mental health, I don't want to hear about it. I don't understand what you're talking to me about. What the heck do you mean that person has ADD? Right? What the heck is schizophrenic? Right? All this concepts, ideas. It doesn't make sense. You tell someone it's crazy, mad, that makes sense. But it doesn't tell me anything. I have a friend, she is a psychologist. She's Vietnamese, and I was working with her. I said, hey, her name's Dom, what are you doing? So, well, I like studying mental health because I realize my community needs a lot of help in it, and I want to be in a position to help them out. How can I help them out, right? Even the concept of mental health awareness is already tough. When was the last time anyone within the Asian American community actually went out to say, here, I'm going to host a seminar on mental health? You don't, right? I haven't seen it in the last 20 years around this area. And then when you talk to anybody about mental health, there's a no-no, double shutdown. My dad has a very good friend, and that friend's in Atlanta. His daughter had a mental health issue, and my dad says, you need to take her to a psychiatrist. You need to seek help, right? Professional help. Oh, she's okay. She's okay. She's kind of crazy. So you know what he did? He locked her in their home. Wouldn't let her out for 2 years. That's not freaking helping anybody. They get crazier, right? Because they just need output. Need someone to reach out. And this is within my sphere of people I know already. And us, even in our own community. How do you react when you see somebody that has a mental health issue? I have little kids that I do a lot of scouting work, den leaders, and I have kids who are autism, right? They act differently. Other parents don't know how to react to these kids. They don't know what to do. They say, hey, just chill out. It's okay. Because you hold them. That's not what they want. They just want you to let them be and talk to them softly, and they react nicely to gentle tones. So I think mental health, our community has a long, long way to go. From as simple as we need to educate educate ourselves first. What is mental health? And part of the starting point is to realize that there is something called mental health issue, right? We have to recognize that first. Because if you do not recognize that there is a problem, how do you engage the problem? And maybe it's not a problem, but there is a situation, right? Let's think of it from that term. Recognize it, admit there is a situation, and then see how we can address it, right? Don't need to use taboo or superstitions. Oh, he's crazy. Maybe I'll put a rope of ginseng around his neck and we go away. No, it doesn't work that way, right? So I think even in the Vietnamese-American community, I deal with community leaders here and there. Like, they'll talk about everything else except mental health. They will not engage, and I find it hard and disheartening. Like, it happened every day. We see it around us, and you don't have to be 20 or 30 years old to realize it exists. It could be a child, right? It could be someone in high school or anyone, and I think that within our community, if we do not educate ourselves, help educate our community, show them, hey, where are the mental health resources that I can go to if I'm Vietnamese, if I'm Laotian? Because sometimes it's a language barrier, which is
affect your identity at all.
So on a regular day at work, my first preference for lunch mostly is Asian food, right? Why? Because for me it's comfort food. Any Asian food I think it's more indicative of my identity. Vietnamese, but I don't try to do all Vietnamese food all the time. All other Asian, Thai, Japanese, Indonesian, Korean, so on and so forth. So I think if you look at from the picture of our culinary, right? If you grew up in a Vietnamese household, Laotian household, Cambodian, you grew up with the food of that culture, and that's the first thing that hits you. I don't go out with my buddies and vote all the time. Hey, let's go to a Vietnamese shop. I don't. I'm like, hey, wherever you guys go, I go. I'm perfectly fine, right? But I find it intriguing amongst my friends, like, hey man, why don't you take us to a nice Vietnamese shop? It's like, well, you guys didn't speak up, right? Because every time I ask you, it's like, let's go to the steakhouse, let's go to the crowd, let's go to a burger. None of you guys ever asked me, let's go to a Vietnamese shop, right? But then I don't want to be the one to say, hey, let's go to a Vietnamese pho shop every time. Then it's like, that's the only thing you know? No, I eat anything, right? Doesn't matter if the type of cuisine is good, not good. I eat it anyways. It doesn't matter. But if you look at food affecting your identity, it could be, but I did not find it that way for my own personal situation. But my friends do label you and say, hey, no, he's Vietnamese, so he probably knows. I study about it, right? History class to tell you, America is a melting pot. For the melting pot idea, it became a salad bowl. I think salad bowl is more indicative, right? But culturally, I have not experienced where I say, hey, you gotta wear the same jeans, same shoes, same shirt, because that's the trend of the day. And you have to listen to this type of music, and that's what we listen to. So I think I was lucky enough that my friends or circle of friends were more understanding, more willing to see what do you like, And I never got too much of a negativity from that circle of friends, and I believe that helped a lot. Because I really was never ever pressure. So you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Because I hear this from a lot of other friends and colleagues and parents. Like, oh, my little boy, he's pressure to do certain things and wear certain things. This about culture, right? When my first kid was born, the nurse asked, what's his American name? Right? This is my first son was born. I said, his name is Quynh H. He's born in Shade Grove Hospital, right here in Rockville. He's American. That's not an American name. He's American. So Quynh H is an American name. I corrected the nurse, the doctor, the teacher, everything in the administration. We are American. He doesn't need to be named John, Jill, Michael. His name is Quynh H. And my son goes by Quynh H. And he is, to this very day, he's in 6th grade now. He hasn't told me he has an American name, but I don't think he has an American name. Everyone with his friends still call him Quynh H, right? And I think that itself is an education for parents. Right? You You need your name. Because that name, I tell my kids, is indicative of your culture. You carry that lineage with you. Your last name is Wayne. It's not going to change. Right? Because your buddy is John Brown, you're not going to change it to Montgomery Brown. Or no, Montgomery is not American. No, it's John Brown. So you're just another John Brown. So what the heck? Right? That's not right. So my wife don't agree with my approach. Say, no, it's okay. It's not okay. I will correct every single teacher, every single person. That's my kid's name. That's what you're gonna call him. Right? So yes, I'm the other Asian, the outside, the younger, especially middle schooler, high schooler, because it's an identity. They're trying to fit in. Where do I fit in? Where do you sit? Who am I? Right? The older generation is like, I'm a young professional. I'm trying to fit into my workplace. I need to do the same thing as this group of professionals do. Otherwise, they won't accept me. But what they don't realize is the moment you do that, you just kill yourself. Be you. Be happy to be you. Right? I work with a lot of, I work at USPTO. I do IT work. And there's a lot of Vietnamese there. That's like a freaking village at the USPTO. It's all Vietnamese. And I found one thing interesting of all the tech workers there. They're very quiet. They won't stand up to their supervisors. Like, I think we have a better way to do this. Let me share with you. And they all of them, majority of them, shy away from management role because of their language barrier. They're like, oh, I can't talk. I can't articulate properly. I can't write that report. And I asked him, is that why you don't want to be a manager? I said, no, it's just too much responsibility. I don't want to deal with the political headache. I said, it's not a political headache. It's just part of the process. So I have a couple of friends who are senior manager, but I still help them write their reports and stuff like that, or kind of share with them. Because they always reach out and say, hey, man, hey, how would I do this if my supervisor is asking me to do certain things? What would you do? So, okay, here, let me share with you what you can respond to, how you can write it, because your supervisor is equally testing, say, what do you know? How should this be done? Don't just take my word for it, because they're depending on you as a team player to help them out, right? Not for them to give you instruction to do something. So as adults, I think Vietnamese-American adults do face that same issue. Does not matter what profession you're in either, right? Where if you're quiet, no, people can lead you by the nose, right? But you gotta speak up. If it's not right, you gotta say something. I have a buddy of mine. I wouldn't say I yell at him, but I kind of scold him all the time. It's like, dude, man, if they're giving you too much work, why don't you just raise your voice? No, I'm not gonna do some guy's work. That's his job. Let him do it. It's not my responsibility. I have my plate full already, and you're stacking all this stuff because he doesn't want to do it. So no. So, and if you experience this being Asian, you realize that happens. One time, I want to be a chemist, a researcher. Didn't last long. I had a research part-time job for a biomedical research initiative doing artificial hearts. Right? Did that for 6 months. Man, it was so freaking boring. I'm a people person. I like to talk to people, right? I was stuck in a closet-sized lab, half the size of this room here, by myself doing tests day in, day out for 6 months. I was like, I don't think this is me. So I left, right? And went back to, then I told my mom and dad, at that point, I was managing the family's business, restaurant business. So I did that for 2 years. I said, look, that's it. I don't think I want to be a restaurateur for the rest of my life. I'm going to go to grad school. So I took the position. Whatever university offered me an entry into the MBA program, I do it. So I ended up at Marymount University, Arlington, Virginia. Small schools. I love it. I went from a big undergrad to a really small school. I was like, oh, this is great. I got to know my teacher. I'm no longer a student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? They actually know my name. So that's pretty strange. Right? So anyways, so at Marymount, I asked a lot of questions. Like, hey, where's my email account? Where's my Unix account? All these accounts I expected. But coming from a small university, they didn't have this infrastructure. I was like, this is weird. Really weird. I felt like I was back. Right? I was like 10 years back versus forward. But one thing led to another. The university telecommunication department said, hey, Joe, let's do this. You come work for the telecommunication, help us with our infrastructure, and we'll give you full scholarship as a student. Oh, that is so cool. Okay. I said yes right away. I didn't know what the conditions said. I said yes, done. So that's how my IT career started. So I helped network the whole university, put on infrastructure, put in internet access, created some of the very first web pages for the university, and from there, that's how my career catapulted. And one day, a student, while I was working in my lab, a student came up and said, "Hey, I got this laptop, this Mac. I need help. It's not working. What's not working? It's not printing." So, okay, let me take a look. Took about 2 minutes. Okay, here it is. It's done. Go. 2 weeks later, came back. Said, "You saved my life." "What do you mean I saved your life? You know the laptop you helped me fix?" "Yeah." "I thought that's your lap." "No, that belonged to a director of an agency that I work for." I didn't realize he was the IT network admin for that agency. And so the director says, "You don't fix my laptop, you're out of a job. Period." So I say, "Okay, you help me now, let me help you. They have a job opening for an IT guy, do web application development. You want it?" I said, "Okay, I want it." Mind you, I never did it before my whole life. I've never done any. I do programming, but not a web app because that's brand new. So Mark Anderson came out with Mosaic web browser probably 1994, 1995. The internet started hitting 1996, 97. Gradually, we got our concept of web browsing. But people didn't build that much of web database application. I was at the forefront. So started that, built it for the agency, stayed with them for about 10 years. And through the whole gamut, started from programming, hardware side, software side, programming, all that. Moving forward today, I'm in cybersecurity. So now, how does Asian American influence career path? The path that I chose, I didn't see any Asian American. Are you talking about cybersecurity in the early days? None. You're all white. That's all you saw in the cybersecurity universe. No Asian whatsoever, right? So I started there, and everywhere I went, sometimes I was questions like, "How do we know you have access? Are you sure you're allowed to be here?" At one point, they had to call my director at my agency and said, "Do you know this guy?" "Yeah, he sent down there to do work. You guys don't let him in, that system's going to go down." They let me in finally, but they wouldn't let me go anywhere else. In and out. So you see this happen because the place that I was at was Jackson, Mississippi, Timbuktu, right? The hangout was 7-Eleven. I was like, "Holy crud, what the heck happened here?" But it happens, right? So sometimes being Asian American, basically in the technology field that I was at, you were relegated to certain position, certain functions, and you somehow stream outside of function spheres. Like, you have a big question on you, right? I had this assignment with U.S. Digital Service. So USDS is considered the IT consulting wing under President Obama. So my director reported directly to the president. So I was assigned to Social Security Administration to be part of a team to help fix the disability claim for all Americans, right? There was a prior company, it took them like 6-7 years. They didn't do anything. We were sent in and said, "You guys got 12 months, give me a product." But even then, going in, you had the same issue. And they haven't seen people working at this level or this caliber. So you always question about your qualification. How do you know what you know? So if I didn't know what I know, why are we here? Right? You'll be here, not me. And if you guys didn't kind of mess up, our team wouldn't be here. So yes, it does. Believe it or not, especially in the professional world, it affects a whole lot. The professional side of the house, they might not say it, right? Because people are a little bit more subdued. But when it talks about race and career, it's a factor, right? I have friends very qualified. Like, why didn't you make that management position? Where's another guy, right? And it comes down to, it is a race card. We don't want to say it, but that's the reality. It is a race card issue, right? Still happens to this very day, right? I'm at my work right now. "Hey, Joe, you do it. I got other guys." It's like, "Oh, no, they're senior up. What am I going to do?" I took smidgets of how I saw myself growing up, what my dad did. I consider important. Telling stories of the past, passing upon traditions, family history, right, which I do not have, but I got from my dad. So I took that aspect and gave it to my kids. Now, my dad grew up in a household where his dad was there, but yet his dad was not there, right? This is my grandfather's a rice farmer, right? He barked command, "Do this, do that." And growing up, I remember during dinner time, grandfather would eat first by himself. The wife was not there. The grandchildren was not there. And no one was there. Just him. I was like, what the hell was that? And then when I was growing up here, stateside, we had family dinner every day. That was part of the process. Oh, this is pretty strange. So, in raising my family, I'm like, you know what? I don't believe in eating by myself unless I'm the only one in the house right now and the kids are out. But we strive as hard as possible to be family on the table together, eat together, talk together, communicate. Because believe it or not, I believe the Asian community, the kitchen, the dinner table is a central part of the nucleus of all of our family. Everything happens there. Mommy wants to talk to you about something. She'll be cooking something and she'll be talking to you at the same time, right? And that happens a lot here in my family too, because the kitchen is a central, the nucleus of all the other rooms are, yeah, nice assets here and there, but it is really that essence. And I think I created like a hybrid approach where I picked little essence that's like, oh, that's what I want to preserve. That's what I want my kids to do. So I take that from my dad, took some from my grandfather. I didn't know my grandfather on my mom's side because he passed away a long time ago. But all these, you create your own formula, own recipe of what it is. There's no right, there's no wrong. But I think being a dad, number one thing is that I want to engage with my kids. What are they do? I'm there. I'm trying to figure out. And it's a new lesson every day. There's no perfect. Right? There's no freaking perfect. This happened to my son last week. So his friend did something bad. The principal called me and said, can you be witness to the actions that your friend did? He said no. Didn't know anything. So, that's the wrong time to stand up. Because your friend did something bad, you had to say it. And we had to talk with him. Because as a child, he doesn't realize it. It was my time growing up. First thing I hear is a pop. It's like, Dad didn't even ask anything. All he knew I was in detention. Like, okay, force first, talk, not even talk. It just force first, right? So yeah, that's a lot of changes in how you perceive and how you believe you want to take your family and what direction you want to take them in. Do you want to create more independence? Do you want to create more empowerment, right? Or the willingness to stand up? And that's what I try to do for my kids. Show them the arts of the impossible that it could be. Show them what the future can be, if you strive. And really infusing them the knowledge that you still have to work for it. There's no such thing as easy peasy, right? Kids today, you ask them, what do you want to be? Oh, I want to be a video blogger. It's not that all glamorous, right? You see this guy with millions of views, but he's been